As we all know, Hell Let Loose hasn't been in the best spots recently, with the new updates, all the bugs, the horrendous trailer, and all the other stuff going on. The Steam reviews are just really bad, and something needed to happen. Well, the devs have listened. I mean, they released a few dev briefs before, acknowledging the different problems, but also the answers were kind of corporate. But now they did an AMA on Reddit and asked me anything. And there's actually multiple key members of the development team involved. So this is actually quite interesting in terms of the information that came out. They even went into the trailer, the infamous trailer, and how it actually turned out like that. So stay tuned. I picked 12 of the questions that interested me the most and their answers, and I thought it could be good to discuss them here in this video, and I'm very curious to hear your opinions as well in the comments, so by all means let me know, and also the rest of the players of course. So who are involved in this AMA? So it's Kieran, the studio technical director, Adam, a senior brand manager, Craig, the producer, Matt, the studio creative director, and Alisha, also known as WombatMedic, the community manager. So it's interesting that these key people actually answered the questions. They took some time to prepare the answers, but they didn't even skip the hard questions, so that's quite exciting. So let's go into the first question, which is about optimization. A Reddit user asked, will there ever be a proper optimization update? I feel like this game could run much better than it does currently. I personally enjoyed much more if the game had a few more graphics options, or just anything that improves my FPS by a little bit. Well, I think there's many people actually in this specific situation. Not everyone plays on a high-end rig, and Hell Let Loose, it looks beautiful, it's massive, but also it has so many problems with the optimization. I think they made a lot of improvements already since the early access days, but even on high-end systems and some maps, and especially after the new update, it's just a bit bad still and underwhelming. So the studio technical director, Kieran, he replied that we will be bringing optimizations to every update that we release. There are multiple areas that require attention on both the server and client. Right now we are working on optimizing the art assets and on the worst performing levels. In addition, we are looking into ways to reduce the increased stuttering that has started happening in the game. This, however, is just a start, and we are committed to continuing to look into ways that we can make the game run better. Well, I have to admit, every update they try that. It also introduced new problems, of course. But in the AMA, there's actually another question by another user, and the devs explain a bit more about what specific challenges they have in the engine, what they think the solution might be, and it's a bit more detailed. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the AMA. But I don't want to get too deep into all the technical stuff because the video will become very long. But definitely check it out. But it's good to know they're actually putting priority still on the optimization. Then question 2 is about the jankiness, and that's also a thing I always care about because I think Hell Let Loose kind of stands out because some stuff is just very janky. Like this user also mentioned, is there any ongoing work to fix map jankiness where you get caught on terrain, cannot mount bipods, or where the asset hitbox is incorrectly sized? You know, there's all this kind of stuff that just doesn't work very nicely, and it's actually very frustrating as well if you try to like jump over a fence and you just get stuck for a few seconds and someone shoots you in the head from across the field. The typical Hell Let Loose experience, obviously. And what the technical director Kieran says again is that we have created specific tooling actually to help fix these issues, and we're now able to more easily visualize the various collision shapes and level markup in a much simpler way, which makes identifying and fixing these issues a lot easier. We're fixing specific instances as we find them, so you will see improvements through each update. Well, that's good. I'm happy that they're actually focusing on that, because throughout the updates I didn't actually notice that much that the jankiness is fixed. I mean, bipods still don't work well. Also the window placement and everything is pretty strange, and I think it will make it more up to the standards of other games that are actually much less janky, and it would also attract more people to actually start playing it, I think. But let's see how that goes. I'm just happy that they put a priority on fixing this jankiness. Question 3 is about my eternal nemesis. It's about the artillery system, and if you follow my channel, you know I hate the current artillery system. It's just kind of I mean, artillery needs to be in the game and it needs to be very destructive, but the gameplay loop is just kind of bad at the moment. You can just destroy an entire objective with arty, and the loop actually to get rid of arty is that you need to send your recon to the spawn of the enemy and just start spawn killing them so they can't use their arty. And I don't think that's a very nice way of going about it. It's not really fun. Also, as recon, you want to do some other stuff than spawn kill. obviously. And this Reddit user just asked, like, what are the future plans for artillery in the game? And Matt, the studio creative director, says, we understand this is a big topic amongst players, and we are looking at different solutions for artillery, including self-propelled artillery. That's actually very interesting. Smaller artillery pieces and mortars. We have a variety of prototypes we want to explore implementing, and then eventually run PTEs to gather feedback as part of the development process. Yeah, that's perfect, actually. I mean, that would be quite a popular PTE, I expect. I mean, having some self-propelled artillery like the Vespa or something would be fucking interesting to see how that works in the game. I hope the maps are big enough, but I think so. And mortars, obviously. This is actually one of the things I'm most excited about if they would change it, so I'm looking forward to seeing any PTEs coming up about the artillery system. Question 4 is also about something that could greatly improve the gameplay and also all the different moments that could happen during matches, and this is about emplacement. A Reddit user asks, are there any plans for new emplacements like sandbags, Jankiness, observation towers that would increase the defender's ability to hold a position? It's difficult to convince the team to build up a point when the defenses have minimal value and often hurt the defenders as much as the attackers. Yeah, the barbed wire, for example. They answer yes. We've been looking at the possibility of introducing various new weapon systems. For example, the German Lafette tripod system for MGs. And there was actually another question on the AMA, and that was that they're actually testing specific MG emplacements already. So this also sounds very exciting. This was already a request from the community, but as well, it was in the roadmap as well before, when Black Matter was still developing the game. So I hope they will definitely implement this kind of stuff. Yeah, it just makes the game more alive. MG placements you can attack. These are like nice little side quests, right? If these exist in a map. So I'm happy to hear that they're actually continuing, seeing what options they have for actually implementing that in the game, because it was kind of quiet about this specific topic. Then there is the trailer, question 5. I was kind of curious about this answer, but one user asked, what was the thought process behind the very infamous German OP trailer? So the response by Adam, the senior brand manager, is, the story behind the trailer going live isn't as exciting as some would have you believe, like a summer intern. This trailer was outsourced to a new partner agency with a too short deadline. And to be honest, the checks that should have been carried out on the quality of the assets and historical accuracy did not happen. This mistake has been learned from and acted upon, with our internal trailer team, which had worked on the majority of our previous trailers, being brought back into the project. That's a good idea. That trailer is not a representation of Hell Let Loose on the dedication and care that the team applies to everything they do with regard to the title, and we will never put out an asset of that quality ever again. Well, you better do not. It was an absolutely memeable trailer, and it's being memed throughout the AMA actually as well by all the Reddit users. But yeah, they learned from that definitely. It was an absolutely bad trailer, but it makes sense that it was outsourced and it was just bad management. Actually, this whole situation seemed to be about bad management and lack of fund. I don't know. I just hope they get everything in check, but from this AMA, but also the previous dev brief, I don't know, it seems they thought about it well and they restarted the whole thing with the future roadmap too. So I really hope they can repair the trust of the community actually. So question 6 is from Gabatron about the armor system. Is the team happy with how armor works in the game currently? Will we ever see any changes to the armor system? Examples being changes to projectiles and armor penetration, more accurately representing real life values, more modules and components, the ability to turn, etc. And there's a whole bunch of stuff to be brought up in this questions about the armor system. And I think many people actually want to know about this because there's been quite some criticism on the armor system. There are quite a few people who like to play it. What Matt, the studio creative director, answered is, there are many changes we would like to make to armor in order to better simulate the performance and attributes of armor in World War II. As many of the community will acknowledge, there's very little symmetrical armor in relation to their traversal speed, reliability, turret rotation, reloading speed, armor strength and deflection, suspension, plus gun range and penetration in World War II. This level of a more historical accuracy combined with gameplay is a delicate balance, but one we are keen to address in a series of prototypes that we will want to PTE. Plus, yes, we are very keen to include US tank destroyers and more armor like the Stug. So that's actually a good sign. I mean, the armor system in similar games like Squad, for example, have very deep damage systems, and there are many variables that come into play. And also like World of Tanks, even though it's specifically made for tanks. But Hell Let Loose will definitely benefit from this kind of system, so I'm very curious to see where it will take Hell Let Loose. But I'm not really an armor player, so it might make me one, but I'm more of an infantry or squad leader player generally. but it might make me interested more in playing tanks. So question 7 is about the medic system, and I mean, there is many people who like to play medic. Wade from Saving Private Ryan made a good impression on a large part of the world population, it seems. So are there currently any plans to address the medic's viability on the battlefield? As it currently stands, it's often not strategically sound to wait for a medic to revive you, since respawn can happen so quickly. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's often better to just spawn at an OP with full ammo. I mean, yeah, many people don't wait for medics. And Matt replied, this is something we have been looking into the background, and yes, we have designs for medics to be able to drag wounded players, as well as reevaluate incentives such as bonus XP when revived by a medic. I like it that they're actually still taking a look how the medic class performs in the game. It's just a bit underwhelming compared to other games, but at the same time it's also a class that many people like to play, so there should be a fun and also viable medic in the game. Then question 8 is also one that many people want to know about, and it's about the British Arsenal. So a Reddit user asked, firstly, what was the main thought process when choosing the arsenal for the British faction? As someone who enjoys military history, I know that the weapon choices were limited, but you guys could have done variants of weapons, like instead of the Lanchester SMG, do a 1928 pattern Thompson with drum mag and higher fire rate, and it's basically, yeah, what the hell's going on with the British Arsenal? And Adam, the senior brand manager, explained, honestly, it was just time. The team was working with the files they inherited and had a release date to hit. It's no excuse, but we own the mistake as a publisher. We are striving to make sure the Brits have better, far more accurate arsenal that is also fun to use. It's good to acknowledge this because, man, it was so underwhelming. Just apart from the iron sights not even aligning and just being not very well balanced, but many players had complaints about the lack of historic accuracy and the weapons that they really wanted to use and were looking forward to, they can't use them. It's kind of sad, so it's good they are going to fix this. Then there's question 9 about the quality of life of the squad leader role, which is dear to my heart. I mean, I pretty much always play squad leader because it's the most consistent way to having a good communicating squad and a fun game, but also it brings some frustrations. A Reddit user asked, when will I be able to manage my squad without dying first? Kicking people, inviting people, locking and unlocking squads. You know, it's actually so annoying to not have this quality of life. I mean, squad leading for some people is already the most stressful kind of job you can do in the game. Many people don't want to do it and they just want to chill and be in a squad and not lead it. But then if you decide to be it, there's all these unnecessary frustrations that should be removed. So it will actually influence, I think, the entire quality of life of the game. Because if more people play squad leader and communicate, the rest of the players have more fun. So it should be a priority. And what Matt, the studio creative director, said, this can be really frustrating and is a design change we're keen to make. Once we're in the position to, we will run a PTE for feedback and a potential solution. I mean, it seems like they will pay some attention to this. It doesn't seem like a big priority. I think it should be one of the bigger priorities actually, because squad leaders run the game basically. But also I can't really tell how hard it is to implement, to be honest. So, question 10 is about historical accuracy and map-specific weapons. Do you have any plans to add accurate uniforms for different maps and also Africa Corps uniforms? And do you have any plans to add period-accurate weapons for different maps? Well, the answer by Matt again is yes to both questions. We want to offer specific uniforms for maps, including more accurate British and German uniforms for North Africa maps. We also want to make weapons, vehicles and armor specific to certain maps, and we are already working on a new set of British armor for North Africa, which will be able to share more about in the future dev brief. Well, that's good. I mean, it was already on the roadmap that the weapons and stuff would be map specific, if I remember correctly, but it's nice to see it confirmed here. I mean, it would make all the different maps have more variation, and also we don't have to wear, you know, snow uniforms in France or in the desert map anymore. I always forget it for half an hour before switching back, as many of you guys do probably as well. But it would also just be awesome to have the specific types of vehicles to specific maps. That also opens the way to add more vehicles to the game, as they can be spread out across different maps. So this is just a thing I think many people want, especially in the sense of the historical accuracy. You know, many people always ask about that. So I'm kind of curious to see where this will go. And also in relation to other different kind of factions will be added, because that's what the next question is about. Question 11. It's about additional factions and battlefields such as the Polish and Finnish, because a Reddit user asked, is there any chance that the future factions of Finns and Polish, maybe Italian, will be playable in the 100-player game modes instead of the shorter game mode? I think the shorter game mode has been cancelled for a while anyway, but Matt replies, yes, we have done extensive research and development work on the Finnish-Soviet Winter War, and we are very keen to release a large warfare offensive map with combined arms 50 versus 50. We're also looking into other historical battles and campaigns of World War II, including Case White, being the early war German invasion of Poland. Man, that would also be cool to have just different places, different theaters of war that we didn't see yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Polish and the Finnish in the game. Secretly, I hope for the Pacific Front at some time, because the Pacific theater would change so much with also tropical landscapes and stuff. But I don't know if that's actually been confirmed now. Do you guys know? I have no idea. Anyway, so it's good to know we're going in the direction of new content as well, even though this year will be focused mostly on the optimization and bug fixing. And I mean, Elder Loose is already a really good game, or else we wouldn't play it. It seems we're all just sad that they massacred our boy. Anyway, final question is about free look. I thought actually the dev said it will never happen and it was impossible for the engine, but maybe I misremember that or something, I don't know. But will Held It Loose ever get free look, as it would be nice to be able to look left and right as one is running forward? Well, yeah, for example, Squad has it. I also play Stalker Anomaly EFP lately, and it also has free look. It's just very, very convenient to have in this kind of game. Especially if you're sitting still somewhere in a bush camping, like a nasty ass mother, and you don't want to move so people don't see you. Free look is very convenient. But Matt said we already have a design for free look that we will prototype in the future. So the devs are actually currently working on implementing free look, and that's also very, very nice quality of life improvement. So overall, I think these questions and the answers that the devs gave me a lot of hope for Held It Loose again. I hope it will do for you too. Still, the reviews are pretty shite. I don't know if you guys left a really bad one, but make sure to change it when you feel optimistic enough, so the game will attract more players, because we don't want it to die, right? So there were actually many other great questions in there, and they didn't receive a response yet, so I might make a follow-up video. But actually the devs are releasing a dev brief next week with a summary of all the different answers on these questions. And one question in particular I'm quite curious to see a response about as well is this guy that asks, I'd be interested to learn about the thought process around why Team 17 wanted to purchase the Held It Loose IP in the first place, and how it fits into the future roadmap for the studio. Held It Loose seems like a very different game than Team 17 has ever built, and I'm curious what the end goal is for the game. That's actually a very interesting question, because I was actually asking myself the same thing, so I'm gonna look out for the answer on that. Well guys, what do you guys think of all the new changes? What do you think of the answers that the devs gave? I'm quite curious to hear from you guys too. And well, this was the video, so I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more, and see you in the next one.